You speak to define and to separate. You assume words are tools for sorting reality into parts. You trust that meaning appears when differences are named. Yet a doubt arises. If language keeps dividing, can it ever reveal what is not divisible? Shams Tabreez challenged this habit. He said a word can either confirm separation or end it. He did not treat speech as description, but as disclosure. A word that arises from truth does not point at unity. It expresses unity directly. You wonder whether such a word is a sound, a sentence, or a state of awareness. If every sentence you make builds a border, what kind of word removes borders altogether? And if that word appears, who speaks it, and who remains to hear? You notice how you use words to protect a position. You speak to defend identity, to secure agreement, to organize uncertainty. You think clarity is achieved when categories are stable. But the more you sort, the more conflict appears. You watch how a statement about me creates a corresponding not me. You realize that each label produces a distance, and you live inside that distance. Shams would call this the speech of separation. It feels precise, yet it multiplies confusion. If truth is one, why does your language create many? If understanding grows, why does tension also grow? Perhaps your words are accurate only about the divisions they create. If the language is the problem, how can the same language become the cure? Shams Tabreez appeared among scholars who prized debate. They trusted mastery of terms more than transformation of self. He unsettled them by shifting the purpose of speech. He claimed they spoke about God while standing apart from God. With Jalaluddin Rumi, he exposed a different use of language, not argument but alignment. In reports about him, speech was judged by what it did to the speaker's state. A word that raised pride was false. A word that erased pride was true. This standard was severe. It measured sentences by their effect on separation. What is the value of eloquence if it strengthens the walls that it names? Shams taught that words have two sources. One source is memory, which repeats the past. The other source is awareness, which discloses what is. Words from memory refer to ideas. Words from awareness enact presence. He pointed to a word that is not invented, but found when the self becomes quiet. This word does not argue. It aligns. It does not persuade. It reveals. It does not move outward. It unmasks what is already here. You recognize the implication. The worth of speech depends on the state of the one who speaks. If the speaker stands in separation, the word will carry separation. If the speaker is free of division, the word will carry unity. Which source is your speech serving right now? You resist the idea that your speech may be the shape of your ego. You want language to stay neutral so that you can keep control. But you see how quickly you speak to win, to avoid, to appear wise. You hear yourself repeating phrases that once impressed others. They no longer reveal anything. They secure position. Shams warned that sacred words can hide the most persistent pride. The more refined the phrase, the subtler the defense. You realize that the conflict is not between you and others. It is between your need for separation and your wish for truth. You cannot hold both. If speech keeps confirming the speaker, can it ever disclose what is beyond the speaker? What would you lose if it did? You test another way. You let a question form without rushing to answer. You notice how answers usually protect the role. You pause until the need to be right softens. In that pause, the sentence you were about to use becomes unnecessary. You begin to understand Shams's claim. The word that ends separation is not chosen by preference. It arrives when preference loosens. It carries no aggression because it carries no owner. It does not force agreement because it does not seek victory. It clarifies by removing the divider, not by sharpening distinctions. You see how listening changes speaking. When listening is clean, speech becomes simple. If the listener in you lessens, what kind of word appears? If it appears, does it still belong to you? You recognize that the word Shams points to is not a syllable. It is the act of awareness affirming its own unity. In theological language, one might call it the affirmation that there is only the real. But Shams's emphasis is practical. The affirmation is not repeated for memory. It is realized in the present. When realization occurs, the sentence is secondary. The word is the state that makes the sentence true. From this state, speech is not a report about unity. It is unity communicating itself. The speaker and the meaning are no longer two. The claim is radical. When separation ends, even ordinary words become accurate because they arise from accuracy. If the state is the word, then the first task is not to pronounce, but to become. Can a mind that seeks advantage ever become this word? You sit with the consequence. If the true word is a state, then silence may reveal more than speech. But Shams did not praise silence as withdrawal. He valued it as the clearing in which speech can be exact. When the desire to perform ends, the next sentence is light in weight and firm in meaning. It does not decorate. It serves. It does not resist. It aligns. You feel the difference between arranging ideas and allowing truth to set the terms. This stillness is not emptiness. It is readiness. From here, even a single word is enough because it carries no remainder of division. If stillness is the ground of accurate speech, what practice protects stillness during conflict and praise alike? You adopt 3 disciplines. First, you examine intention before speaking. Is this word meant to win or to reveal? Second, you test effect after speaking. Did pride increase or decrease? Third, you return often to wordless attention so that language loses its compulsion. Shams would judge practice by honest results. If a phrase about unity inflates the self, drop it. If a plain statement reduces distance, keep it. You revise how you read and how you teach. You prefer fewer claims and more verification in experience. You watch how a truthful yes or no can end confusion that a long explanation only prolongs. You learn to distrust eloquence when it serves anxiety. You learn to trust simplicity when it carries accuracy. If truth is one, why should its communication require complexity rather than sincerity? You return to the opening question. You asked whether one word can end separation. You now see that the word is not a special term, but a purified act of being. Shams Tabreez did not offer formulas. He trained attention to stand where division cannot stand. From that position, speech is direct. It does not add to reality. It agrees with reality. When agreement is complete, the speaker is quiet even while speaking. There is nothing to defend, nothing to sell, nothing to hide. The listener is also quiet because the meaning does not arrive as opinion. It arrives as recognition. In this recognition, the need for two dissolves. The teaching is simple. Speak only from what is undivided. When you do, the word that destroys separation is already present.